Hey guys, so this is lesson 1-7, solve equations with multiplication and division. Now it says solve using the inverse. What's this word inverse mean? Opposite. There we go. So the equations with division, we're going to do the opposite and solve with what? Multiplication. Now, here's the catch. Yes, you know how to do this, or you've forgotten, but our math department has decided that everybody in our school will show the work this way. Okay, so I need you to kind of wipe your brains and start out fresh with it. Does that make sense? Now, x is being what by -7, guys? What's x being? Divided. So what I want you to do is I want you to always put parentheses around the division just like this. Okay, and it's page 9, just so you know. It's page 9. Yeah, right there. Page 9 of your notes is about halfway down. It's in the very last page there. So how can I show the multiplication? I want you to shrink this -7, whatever this number is, positive or never, negative, whatever it is, I want you to take it and I want you to slap it right down beside the x and put parentheses around it. So do you see, if this is divided by -7, we're going to show it's timesing by -7. If you want, you can draw a line through it. It cancels out, and what's going to happen with the x? It's going to fall down. And so you can just put the x straight down. The equal sign can come straight down. But remember, for all of our other equations, what we did to one side, we had to do to the other side. So how do I show the multiplication by -7? Since I multiplied this side by -7 to knock that out and free the x, what do we have to do? Put this in parentheses. Yes, parentheses. I don't want the dot here. Parentheses. This is how we're doing it, okay? And then I want you to put the -7 in parentheses right next to this. And then, guys, can you tell me what is 15 times -7? Hopefully you're going, hey, it's -105. A negative times positive. Yeah, you can absolutely. You might want to put this one down here. When we're using multiplication division, you might want to use that little memory tool we talked about there, right? We can do that. Now let's come right over here to this one. T is being what by 8? Divided. So what's the opposite of division? So I want you to put parentheses around that. Is this a +8 right here? Carry that +8 right up here to the side. Boom. So what happens with this side? Well, we need to multiply the entire right side by +8. So we multiplied the left side by +8. Let's just put a +8 right here. This is a lot easier. The t would come straight down. And what's -5 times 8? -40. Okay. I'm going to pause the video and let you all try this one right here. We gave yourself a little bit of time here. I'm hoping that you saw the y is divided by -3, so you times this side by -3, right? And then times this side by -3. What do we get? Y equals what? -42. So that takes care of that style of problem there. This is review. This is a review chapter. But if you struggled with it last year, hopefully this gives you a little bit more guidance of how to do it this year. Now, what about equations with multiplication? We know that when a number is sitting next to a variable, that means multiplying. Technically, I could call that a coefficient because it's a number multiplying a variable. Okay, there's your stuffy math terminology. So how can I get this 3 that's multiplying the y away from the y? Because again, it's the same thing. We want to isolate the variable, right? We wanted to isolate the variable up here. We wanted to get it by itself. It's the same idea. And what you do to one side, we do to the other side. So if this is multiplying, what's the exact opposite? Division. So this part will be almost the exact same way you did there. Just use the fraction bar that shows division. If this is a +3, and that's the one multiplying your variable, we're going to divide it by a +3. Now, what did we do to the left side of the equation? Divide by what? So we have to go do the same and divide the other side of the equation by 3. 3 divided by 3 gets you +1. And 1 times y, it doesn't change what y is. So there's no need to write anything there. So it doesn't really make it disappear, but for all intents and purposes, you're allowed to do this every single time. When you divide a number by itself, you can kind of magically make it disappear, but it's not magic, it's just 1. What's 1 times y? y. So whatever that number, so there's no need to write it, right? And so that cleans it up. Now, what's negative 12 divided by 3? Negative 4. There you go. Now this next one takes a little bit more, just because of the size of the numbers. Over here though, they put the variable on the right side of the equation. What's the number doing to the variable? Multiplying. So just divide it. This was a positive 8, we'll divide by positive 8. So what do we have to do on this side? We divide by positive 8. Now the c, right, can sit right here, and now we just have to get our answer, and we know it's going to be positive. And thankfully, some of you guys are able to be like, hey, it's 102, Mr. Tate. But a few of you I know are sitting here going, there is no way. Do you remember this back in grade school? Do you remember this back in grade school? If you need to, put the 816 inside the division box, put the 8 on the outside, and then you just start working your way across. Can 8 go into 8? Yes or no? So 8 times 1 is 8. Drop the next number down. Can 8 go into 1? Can't see there, can you? It can't go into it, so we put a 0 over that. Now can we drop the next number? Can 8 go into 16? Twice. What's 8 times 2? 16. You see there's nothing left over. So in case you needed that refresher, there it is. Okay? Now how about on your own? You do this one, and this wraps up our lesson. I'll pause. Well, I know at this point you have divided by negative 5. Did you divide by negative 5? I'm hoping. And then this means it needs to be divided by negative 5. So x is going to be a negative number. A positive divided by negative is negative. Negative, is it negative 53? There you go. I'm doing that off the top of my head. Let me pause and double check it to make sure. So if we had to recap here, anytime that we're solving equations with multiplication or division, and you can see x divided by negative 7, we're just going to take that division number and divide it, or excuse me, multiply it on both sides, right? And we know the style, and you've got it on your notes. Down here, if we have a multiplication equation, we're going to use division. And you take whatever that number is, whether it be positive, we use it to divide. If it was a negative number like this one, we're going to use the negative numbers to divide. Okay? And of course, that little memory tool right there can help you out. And we talked about using that. That should wrap it up.